I'm Alexa Schwerha with Campus Reform, and you're watching 5 Big Questions. Today I'm joined by Melissa DeGama. She is a student at the Florida International University and is studying political science and international relations. She is the daughter of Venezuelan immigrants, and she is joining me now to discuss socialism and the threat that it has on college campuses. Melissa, thank you so much for joining me.
No, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Of course. So, kind of break this down for us. Why does socialism have such an appeal to young voters?
Well, it's something that doesn't really make sense to me, but unfortunately, we've been fed this anti-American sentiment. There's large ingratitude amongst the people, and it's quite ironic because we live in a country that has provided us so many luxuries. Living in America on its own is a luxury. When my family first moved here 18 years ago, we won the diversity visa lottery, and we never expected to stay here for as long as we did. We stayed hoping that Venezuela would get better and we'd return when the communist regime progress. But unfortunately, what we see under communist and socialist regime is never progression, it's always regression. And unfortunately, my family has left their lives behind, their family and all their loved ones, in order to provide us freedom and the rights that Venezuela and no communist regime could ever provide for us.
You raise an excellent point there. Do these college students even know what socialism is?
I'd argue that most of them don't, or maybe it's a misunderstood false lie that they've been fed, especially in schools. Like I mentioned, professors are indoctrinating students and they're sharing this anti-American bias, which isn't backed up by any evidence. You see that there are students and there are people that have witnessed communism and socialism and the horrors that it's produced, and they're being undermined. Their experiences are being ignored and they're being shunned. In my political theory class, I had a classmate who told me, no, communism is good. What you went through, what you saw with your Venezuelan family is false, and Marxism is the only way to get rid of inequalities. And it's just a false lie that they've been fed, and they don't realize that the only kind of equality that communism can provide is an equality of poverty. And that's not an equality that America should be striving to have.
Now, Melissa, I want to talk more about this incident in California. Clovis Community College is currently facing a lawsuit after administrators tore down anti-communist flyers that were posted by the Young Americans for Freedom chapter. Do you think this would happen if those posters happened to be anti-capitalist?
Absolutely not. We see that in schools, people are being indoctrinated to believe that this anti-American bias is what's right, it is what's true, and anything other than that is people being either racist or trying to breed inequality, and that's far from the truth. We love America and we love the freedom, the rights that it provides for us, and that's something that communism could never provide for us, and capitalism has allowed us to progress, to have economic prosperity and all kinds of prosperity that communism and socialism will never, ever be able to provide.
And with midterms just around the corner, what do you think voters need to keep in mind when they're casting their ballot this November?
For this midterm, I believe that voters need to acknowledge and they need to embrace the American values of equality, freedom, of individualism and capitalism, and we need to promote these and make sure that the people we're voting for are supporting these ideas. We don't want to end up like Cuba. We don't want to end up like Venezuela, and we have to make sure that we're aiming towards progress, not through communism and through socialism, because these are lies that people have been fed, and we have to look at the history of it. It has never benefited any country.
And how can pro-capitalist, conservative students fight to shift this culture on campus?
I think a large portion of it is voicing our opinions. We often come out as a minority, but it's important to show the evidence, show the history, and show our personal experiences if we have them. Explain to people how beautiful the Constitution is, how our Constitution has been one that has progressed and has endured so much in history. That's something that cannot compare to any other constitution in the world.
Absolutely. Well, Melissa, thank you so much for joining me today and breaking this down for us.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. And I would just like to remind students to make sure to read their history and to appreciate the freedoms that we have here before it's too late.